Welcome to the Agility in Real Life podcast, Take Five in Real Life. Now your hosts, Mike Studeman, Jeff Lee, and Pat Campbell.
Welcome and thanks for joining us on the Take Five IRL podcast. I'm Jeff Lee, one of the partners at Agility IRL, and I'm joined with my other two business partners, Mike Studeman and Pat Campbell. Today we're going to be talking about stakeholders and what they can add to our product development efforts. So Pat, I'll let you lead it off.
Well, most organizations, Jeff, think stakeholder involvement is a strength, which is up to a point. However, too much input can create noise. And noise, believe it or not, can destroy flow.
Yeah, so, we have to acknowledge, gentlemen, the Agile community is maybe talked out of both sides of our mouth here collectively. We want input, but not too much input, or not that input. And I think really what we're getting at here is that input, when not filtered properly, it adds work. And it brings up the issue of prioritization, topic that I think we're contractually obligated to talk about with our clients daily.
Yes, we are. And we do. And really, we want to have stakeholder input. We want to know what's going on, but we need clarity. Teams need clarity, right? If they're getting different direction from different stakeholders at all times, nothing's going to get done. Momentum gets crushed.
Well, and you get competing priorities. The teams are forced to multitask. We've talked on multiple episodes about the fallacy of multitasking. We've talked about everything being started and nothing being finished. There's a whole bunch of bad things that happen. Context switching, it hurts people individually. It kills momentum in the organization. It delays everything. So we're saying we want input. We're saying that too much input can cause all these bad things. So what's the root cause?
Well, when you look at it, Mike, it really comes down to no clear decision owner means that everybody becomes decision owner. And the opposite of that is what good looks like. You've got one priority owner, you've got clear trade-offs, and you've got visible decisions, which is an absolute requisite if you're going to help your teams avoid that killer context switching.
And I can talk about a client that we had a few years ago. They brought us in to help their teams deliver more efficiently. And they had been using Agile practices a little bit, but they weren't, doing them probably as well as they could. And there were things to improve on. The first thing I learned when I got in there is they were not making clear decisions. Teams were churning on all sorts of things. They would plan a sprint, and then 3 days later, they're doing something entirely different. They were calling it Agile. That's not good Agile, folks. It's just not. They needed to have somebody making decisions, and they needed to have clarity in the organization on who can make those decisions.
Yeah. So this is a shout out to the leaders in our listening audience. You have to establish those things that Pat just articulated. There has to be one person setting priority, at least at the team level, certainly at the organizational level. Second, you need to own the trade-off. Gentlemen, speaking of clients, we've talked about clients not owning the trade-off this week. A little bit behind the scenes there for those of you that follow our podcast closely. You gotta identify who owns the trade-off. And then leaders, you need to know that your work is decisions and getting those decisions through the organization as quickly as possible. So as we wrap up, and this is becoming a theme here with these podcasts, you don't have a delivery problem in your organization, or if you do, it's easily solved. You have a prioritization problem. Pat, Jeff, any final words of wisdom to share with our audience?
Find yourself in that boat. We can help. We've got tools and practices that have helped other companies dig out of this hole.
And to understand if you're in that boat, look at your organization. Look at one of your teams. Is it clearly defined who can make decisions for that particular team? Or is it clearly defined for a group of teams working together who can make a decision for that group of teams? And if your answer points to multiple people, you may have something to look at there.
Yeah, clarity is key. So thanks for joining us for this episode of Take Five IRL, brought to you by Agility IRL. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Take Five IRL podcast. If you like it, please go ahead and share it with someone, as well as like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Also, leave us a comment or a suggestion for a future episode. Again, thanks for listening, and we look forward to you joining us next time on the Take Five IRL podcast.